Well, a U.S. Congressional panel has released thousands of documents related to the federal investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. While more than 33,000 pages were made public, the U.S. House Committee's release may not represent the entirety of Epstein files that are in possession of Department of Justice, but it includes flight logs, court filings, jail surveillance footage, redacted records, depositions and memos which add intrigue in a case that has at times driven a wedge between U.S. President Donald Trump and his own party. Democratic Congresswoman Summer Lee said that the only new disclosure was flight logs taken by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which show Epstein's travel to and from his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Among the materials released include at least 8 videos of apparent police interviews with the victims. Several of the interviews are time-stamped from 2005 and 2006. In one of the video clips released, a survivor was quoted as saying that Epstein paid her $350 for a massage when she was just 17 years old. Following the release of Epstein files, several accusers of Epstein and his ex-partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, met with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. In a private meet with Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, the survivors urged Congress for more disclosure on this case.
The objective here is not just to uncover, investigate the Epstein evils, but also to ensure that this never happens again, and ultimately to find out why justice has been delayed for these ladies for so very long. It is inexcusable, and it will stop now because the Congress is dialed in on this.
Johnson and members of the Oversight Committee held a closed-door meeting with 6 victims in what many lawmakers described as an emotional and informative meeting. Democrat leader Robert Garcia slammed House GOP for releasing already public Epstein records from Department of Justice, calling for full transparency now.
Donald Trump has the power right now to release all of the Epstein files and documents. Right now. The DOJ is refusing to release the documents that have been subpoenaed. So there is a White House cover-up at the very highest level in getting the American public the information to bring justice to these victims. And I think it's very important for everyone to understand that.
The release came after backbench Republican rebel Thomas Massie forged ahead with a bipartisan effort to force the House to vote on a bill requiring the Justice Department to publish all of its Epstein files within a span of 30 days. Thomas Massie formally introduced his resolution in which he and his Democratic co-sponsor, Representative Khanna, attempted to get the 218 signatures needed to circumvent leadership and force a vote on the House floor. Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in prison in 2019. The case has caused a political headache for Trump after many of his supporters embraced a slew of conspiracy theories surrounding Epstein. A July Reuters Ipsos poll found that majorities of Americans and of Trump's Republicans believe that the government is hiding details on the case. And well, for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani is now joining us live from New York. Hi, Susan. Do you think that the release of the Epstein files, 33,000 pages, will perhaps quell the issue of transparency? And how much of the information released is actually new and not old?
Yeah, it's highly unlikely. I do just want to start with breaking news. As we're speaking right now, lawmakers, including Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, is holding a press conference with Jeffrey Epstein victims behind her, demanding the full release of these files and justice for these victims. And she is going broader than that. She's saying not just the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but victims of sexual crime and sexual violence and sexual abuse. So it's very unlikely that this will put a lid on the issue, considering the fact that, as you just noted, Thomas Massie and Khanna, Republican Democrat, they are pushing for this bipartisan vote to get through the House, to put a vote and on the floor to have all of those evidence released by the government, despite the fact that President Trump and the White House and also leadership in the House are calling it really a non-starter and something that's not necessary. So we're also seeing Republican infighting regarding this issue about how much of this evidence is new. We are hearing that about 97% of all of this trove of documents that have been released have been already released and has been public knowledge. So about 3% or so is something that's new. And that is not really just, it's not even the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to hear more about this story, especially about this breaking news, the press conference that's happening. Marjorie Taylor Greene is really someone who's loyal to the White House. So for her to come out publicly and challenge the White House on this is very noteworthy.
Right, Susan, thanks for getting us the latest right now.